Okay, let's have a talk. I posted something the other day, a video I saw online of a supposed challenge match gone wrong. I think is how one of the popular Facebook sites had mentioned it. It was I think it looked like supposedly a bodybuilder who had supposedly challenged, or I guess learning a little bit more of the backstory. Somebody said he had approached him at a supermarket or something like that, sucker punched him, thought it was somebody else, I don't know, craziness ensued, somehow ends up in the academy, and it turns into this long, kind of drawn out beating, basically. The guy multiple times, says that's it, I'm basically more or less yields multiple times, okay? Tells him, I can't breathe, finish it, whatever, please stop. Like, everything that you would consider a yield, right? Or a verbal tap, it happened. The guy continued the beating, and it was quite honestly egregious. And when I posted it, it was quite alarming, honestly, to hear some of my friends, sort of, or jiu-jitsu acquaintances, basically defend the actions of the instructor, and that the guy kind of had it coming to him for sucker punching him. So let's unpack this a little bit. First off, what is a challenge? What is the historical purposes and reasons for a challenge? Number one, I'd have zero problems with an actual legitimate challenge. That is the number one reason why we have the art that we have today, is because somewhere along the line, one instructor of one martial art called BS on the techniques taught by another instructor. And the only way to really find that out, the challenge is the scientific process applied to human fighting, right? So how do you get better techniques? How do you understand better what works in a real life situation other than actually having an actual fight? That's the purpose of a challenge. There's a righteous search for truth in the challenge. So I have absolutely nothing against a legitimate challenge. That's not what we saw. What we saw was retribution for an attack. So number one, if somebody takes sucker punches me somewhere, yes, I'm going to do what I need to do to defend myself, right, in that moment. But once I have complete control, right, it's over, it's done, right? Mission accomplished. I don't have an emotional attachment to that. If I have to defend myself or my family, I have to be prepared to kill that person. That sounds crazy, it sounds nutty, but it's necessary. Mentally, I have to be prepared to stop the challenge, and that includes killing that person. So I am willing and capable and ready to kill that person. It's in my mind, this has to happen until it doesn't. If I have complete control, there's no necessity to take this any further. Okay, so if the guy sucker punches me, number one, I deal with it right there in that situation. And if I have complete control, okay, then we call the cops. That's assault. That's not a legitimate challenge. I heard a lot of folks saying you don't know the backstory, you don't know what happened beforehand. Quite honestly, it doesn't matter. Whatever happened in the backstory, okay? If the guy is a criminal, he did something wrong, then call the cops. But, let's take a look at it this way. If the guy in the video, the instructor in the video, was a police officer and he was detaining or legally, controlling this guy, so how would that look? And why would we hold a police officer, a normal citizen, to a higher standard than our fellow citizens? We shouldn't. So I think the instructor, from what I've heard, everybody says is a very nice guy. Probably just lost his cool. But at the end of the day, I think that's what we're trying to do as martial artists is improve ourselves and have a more humane response when it's possible, when it's necessary. When you would see some of the challenge matches, at least that I've seen, especially with like the Gracie family, when they'd have legitimate martial artists, kung fu artists, karate experts, you name it, come to the academy. Quite often, what would happen is they would close the distance, get the clinch, take them into their world, and they would utilize the slaps. They would slap them and let them know hey, this could be punches. Let them know, but they would finish the fight as humanely as possible. That really is the power of jiu-jitsu, is that we can be humane in our response. That's the beautiful thing, right? And that's what should be shown to anybody who has a question or wants to challenge the art. We do it in the most humane way possible. Inevitably, many of those guys would misunderstand the situation and say, well, if I just did this or I just did that, they'd want to go again. And the next time the response would be a little bit more violent. So for them to really truly understand, like, look, this is what could have happened last time. I was being nice. Now, you're still questioning it. Now we need to take it to another level. If I am able to finish a fight or an altercation in defense of myself or somebody else, if I can do it just from a moral, not from a legal perspective, from a moral perspective, if I can finish that fight in an extremely humane way, then I have a responsibility to do so. So again, I have zero problems with a legitimate challenge. It's at least at one point in our history, it was a very necessary thing. Now you have the modern mixed martial arts. There's a lot that can be learned there in that arena with sanctioned fights. It's not the same as self-defense, but there's so much that can be learned from this point. And at this point, I mean, jiu-jitsu's pretty much proven itself, I think, pretty well enough, right? At the end of the day, there's nothing more sacred in our art than the tap. If somebody taps, somebody yields, it's over. That's done. You've won. And the point has been proven. And that's where it should stop. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Take it for what it's worth. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see you soon.